Hey guys, I hope you're all doing well today. Just having a look today at Bitcoin, so we're just doing a recap on it. It did start falling pretty hard recently, so it started to dump pretty heavily. We did see a few crashes within the last few days. I think it started is it on Saturday? Today's Sunday, maybe even on Friday. So initially we had the initial crash. So we broke this level of support. This was the most recent the break here. So the break from when was our last low? I think it was right here. Yeah, I think that's correct. So it was around 48, 47 area. So let's just say 47. So we did have a break of 47 to the downside as expected. It came like clean through, broke that, went down, came down below this level here, 45 area, and now today we've broken below clean 45. We've come down to 42, and I think 42 is going to break, and we're going to see 30s pretty quickly here. And they're saying in the news, like, oh yeah, Elon Musk, he triggered the crash, and I don't think that's true. I think that's false, because I think that the algorithms, like the monthly algorithms, they had already wanted to come down, and pretty much he just made it move a little faster. That's what I think. He just, like, there's more volume, a little bit more volume, so it just made things move a little bit faster. If he didn't say that, this could have maybe taken another month or two to do the same thing. It would have just traded sideways. That's what I think. But so it looks pretty clear. Like, we had the red close. We were pretty high up. We had the divergence. We talked about everything see the previous videos, because I won't be able to discuss all of this today. So the weekly, again, like we said, this had the strongest divergence that the weekly chart life has ever seen. As far as was there divergence here too? No, there wasn't. There wasn't any divergence really until here. Again, see the previous videos, but there it is right there. There's part of it, and here's just the rise in price. The decrease in the RSI denoted in the yellow line. This is all in the previous video, so just have a look. So I go over everything. Signal line. No, I don't think that's, sorry, no, it's the histogram. Yeah, here it is. Not that line right there. So it's the decrease in the signal line, decrease in the histogram, while its price continued to move up. Same thing on the shorter time frame indicators. Same thing on the default MACD. So here's the peak, and there's the decrease in. Basically, it's sloping down to negative infinity. It's basically just bearish divergence. That's all it is. Signal line moves up, histogram moves down. Again, I wouldn't just go off that, but that is a good signal. You don't want to just go off one signal. You want to have many. You want to have as many signals as possible. But it's all the same here. When we have the decrease in volume, sharp decrease in volume, came up high against the channels, made a 50% retracement and lower to the yellow line from the high. Fake out here. That can happen, right? It won't just like touch support exactly. It's possible for it to come a little bit higher. That's pretty common. It's a pretty common fake out. Everybody goes long here. Well, like I wouldn't, but a lot of people trade like that. Like they go for breakouts only. Even like big banks and institutions, like they trade like, this is what they do here. If you don't understand what I'm saying, it's like there's the let's say this is the area, right? The recent peak, and then let's just say that tip of that green candle right there is like this, like the last highest price, all-time high, right? So when that breaks at this point exactly, some people trade like this. I personally don't trade like this at all. It's very risky. Like to invest or anything, to try to, to calculate like anything, like just from a breakout. Excuse me. It's like it's not. It's pretty probable. It can be highly probable that it'll just come back down. But what? Actually, no. I'm doing this. Drawing the line wrong. So basically, what they do is they're looking for that break right there. That's their signal. Their signal is that break at that level at 61,799, and when that happens, they buy, right? And that break only took them to like here, 64,625. So whatever that is, a percent, or maybe 2. I don't even think it's 2. I think it's like a percent, maybe 1.5, something like that, right? And then look what happened. It just came straight down. So you can say that 50% of people, even banks, hedge funds, big institutions, big financial institutions, brokerage firms, there may be people on the trading floor there who are doing that. Like they only enter positions when they see breakouts. That's a breakout. That's what they look for. But for me personally, I don't do that. It can basically just come back down. You can come back down if that's all that they're looking at. So yeah, it's pretty clear here. It's pretty clear. Basically, when that MACD flashed, that's when, like I said, that's when it inflected to the negative infinity slope, right? Higher peak to lower peak. I've kind of color coded it too, but usually it can just be one flat color, right? But when this bar is less than that bar, then an algorithm can get triggered, because you can code that. You can just simply write that in code. If like the current histogram is less than the previous histogram, then sell. It's like it's pretty. I think that's how it works. That's how the algorithm works. And then once this signal line inflects down, that could also trigger something, because you can get all the numbers on this axis, on the y-axis. So you can say like if the current, whatever this is called, the signal line is less than the last close signal line, then sell. Especially if you're running the algorithms on monthly data, right? That's like an old school algorithm, and it's still common. Like that's from Forex, like way back. That's like when the trading algorithms were developed. Like those are like before like mining algorithms, everything. It's just like all old school stuff that was like developed when the stock market came out, and it's still pretty common today. Like it's obviously common still. These settings are a little bit faster. It flashed. When did it flash? It might have flashed a few times. I have to go back and watch the previous videos. Or even just try to, you can do a replay here. You can try to replay. I think you might need premium, or you can try it for free. But you can do a bar replay and you can try to see if it flashes. Because it might have flashed a few times. I'm thinking here it flashed. Or it might even flash here. But this one didn't flash. The default settings didn't flash until here. I'm pretty sure. Or actually it might have flashed here. I don't think it flashed here. But yeah, that's something for you to test if you're interested. As far as these lines crossing down from overbought to neutral, I know it. Excuse me. I know it did flash a few times. At least the red line and the blue line. You can see that yellow line crossing down now. That's a huge signal. That's a huge signal. That's a huge signal. That's also, you can code that. That's an algorithm you can code when it crosses over that line. Same way, pretty much. You can code that all in. Any cross below the moving averages, you can code those. So next support again is all the way down here. With that, again, tips can break, right? But the tip is here. And I was just kind of looking at some altcoins. So I was just having a look at like the new altcoins or whatever, the new IPOs. And it's different because like they don't have any data. Like for like a monthly chart, it's just nothing. It's just like the price. There's no indicators at all. Because the indicators need a certain number of months to calculate their data. So there's like nothing on there. So it's interesting because everything I look at always has like this. It's like it's all mapped out. Like this isn't everything. This is like maybe like 60% of it, maybe a little bit more than that. But that's pretty much it. And like those IPOs don't really have anything, like any data. Like they just have daily data. So it's just like all this. So you can't like see any support levels on there. They're not very clear. Like look at this. You can see where the support is. Or like, yeah, wait, weekly support. Yeah, so there's, let me remove all these lines. And you can see weekly support's there, right? And then the next one's down here. But the thing is, for new IPOs, I noticed they don't always go down exactly. They kind of, especially if there's like a lot of volume. But it's because there's no data, so like I think they don't have anything to run on. So they have to build data before they run. So it's like, it's kind of like a new thing, but what I'm thinking is that by the time it calculates the data and you're waiting to go long, it's basically back where it starts anyways. So it's gonna like go up and come back down kind of thing. So if you're like waiting for a position here, but then you didn't buy and it went up for a while, then it came back down to that exact position, then there's data. That's what it almost seems like. Like by the time it gets all that monthly data, it's like back where it is like after a long run. But like I don't know, I have to test it out still because I've just started working with like those new IPO stuff. So I might do some videos on that pretty soon. Yeah, so there's nothing unordinary about the dump. I think it's gonna continue, like since there's like so much data and stuff, and there's like big support down there. Like definitely I think it'll make a 50% retracement to that yellow line, and then it'll definitely probably come back down. And once it gets back down, it's just gonna touch support. And once we get there, it's gonna see if it wants to move up from there, which I think it's unlikely. And I think it'll come back down here. Then it'll come back down here, it'll test, like come down, test, come back down, and then go for another breakout. And that all could take a long time. So yeah, I think that's all for Bitcoin. I don't know, like the best signal I can think of is just coming high up on the bands again, like high up against the channels, like high against up above the moving averages. So it came really high again, above the EMA 9 and the EMA 2. It continued to come high against both. And yeah, pretty much just like drifted really far away. Like when it drifts far away and when it drifts really far below, that's when you want to start looking for a position. Other than that, like it's just pretty much like these lines inflecting, starting to inflect. Is there even an, yeah, there's a slight inflection there. When did that close? That closed, yeah, end of April. I guess once that closed here, it was pretty clear it wanted to go down. That's like your confirmation. When it closed and this line was inflected, there's like a slight slope here, which is to negative infinity. And this slope here closed to negative infinity, and this and that, like they're all the same. Like some are more, there's more slope in some of the lines, such as the red one to the blue one, compared to the yellow one. But once it closed like that, so it did flash a few times, so it was like, yeah, I want to come down. It did flash. I'm pretty sure it flashed here a few times. So it had come down, it flashed here, and it came all the way down to the EMA 9. But then again, at that point, we had already come quite high above these bands, which as we are kind of here. It didn't really go above those bands at that point, but that's just, in the end it came down, pretty much. Same idea, like it's down here. It's a 50% retracement, and it's not always the same thing's going to happen. And again, this is quite steep slope, like have a look at that slope and have a look at that slope. It's like, there's a lot more slope here. Like it's more negative than this one. You can just see, like just eyeball and you can see. This one is more slanted to negative infinity than this one. So that's kind of a good sign, a strong sign, like that's a strong inflection, right? Anyways, we could sit here and analyze it all day. But we'll just quickly talk about ETH. So ETH started to dump too, recently. So there was a flash crash. I thought I saw one to the upside after the one to the downside. It only has it on the Kraken data. Yeah, so see, it doesn't show us everything. So here was the initial, when was this? A couple days ago. So there was the flash wick, then there's like the test wick, you want to call it. It's looking to test that level, which it didn't get up there. And then after that, it just got shorted pretty quickly at that point. Because any algorithm traders are seeing that the monthly says down. So when the monthly says down, then they want to look for a position on the shorter time frames that are extremely high. So then that way they're trading the trend, right? They're day trading the long-term trend, which is obviously it's really profitable if you know what you're doing. But yeah, so it just came up here and tested. It just came up here and tested. It didn't quite test that peak, and it just decided to dump pretty fast. I noticed like with Ethereum, there's like a lot of fees involved. Like to send in Ethereum, you have to send 0.1, and it's kind of a hassle. And I think maybe that's why Bitcoin has done a little bit, like not a little bit, but better than Bitcoin, Ethereum, because it's like you can send small amounts if you want to, so it's more accessible. Like for example, a few days ago, if you wanted to send 0.1 Ethereum, it would have cost you 450, dollars US, right? And let's just say you wanted to send your friend a birthday gift, and obviously you don't want to send them $450. Like if, they're not your best friend or not their close friend, but you just wanted to get them like a maybe $20 to $50 gift or something, right? $20, $30 gift. But you can't even send it to them because they want 450 bucks just to send a gift with Ethereum, so it's kind of a hassle. And it seems like Bitcoin's more accessible and it's more like friendly for like the common consumer kind of thing. But anyways, there's a lot of momentum to the downside here. There's like kind of your flash wick. Have a look at that wick there. Flash wick, right? We saw this wick. Where did we see this wick? We saw this wick here. This one. There's that flash wick. It's coming up high. We got the another similar wick. We're coming up very, very high. We're starting to see momentum to the downside. It's pretty clear on the monthly when you have monthly data. Again, we said we're high. We haven't crossed back down. It eventually will cross back down, right? See, I told you. Eventually it's going to cross down. And we've come up high. So I said you could have taken a position if you wanted to and just let it run. But again, it's hard to watch, right? While it goes up and you're sitting there waiting for it to come back down. It can take a while too. Like it can take several months. Sometimes it can go sideways for 2, 3 months, maybe even more. 4 months. It can go sideways. Well, maybe not 4 months, but at least 2, 3 months it can go sideways. At least 2 months it could go sideways, or getting to 3, right? So there's a long way down to the 50% retracement, and I think we'll come down 60% at least. And I think, look where the support is, it's down here. So somewhere between here and here is where I'm thinking, for sure. And like this isn't out of the question where the main support is, which is down there. So there's a long way here. And I heard like so there's like some new coins in the news. Like if you haven't heard, like Shiba coin, like even in like the Vancouver news, BC news, like I've never seen like Bitcoin and Ethereum on the news before, but like now it's like on like global news and like it's on like CTV and stuff. Like it's in like the newspaper now and stuff. Like it's on like the 6 o'clock news, the 5 o'clock news. Like Elon Musk is in the news. I don't know if it's because Elon Musk, but like it's in the news, and like a lot of people are just getting into the investing space. Some of them have never even traded stocks before or like invested in stocks. Then they have it in the news. They have all these new people buying at the top, and just like getting them into crypto and like getting them into stocks, and they're all probably pretty upset right now. But it's weird because it's in the news, and like even in like 2017 during the last run, well, I don't think it was in the news back then, so all of that was like being filtered out. But for some reason now it's in the news, and a lot of people are just starting to learn about like like investing and stuff. So like investing, like it's not really on the news. Like I've never heard about it before. Like sometimes they talk about maybe a company like Microsoft or something, but not too often I hear about it. Anyways, this hasn't even flashed yet. So yeah, I guess that's kind of important. Remove drawings. So there's no flash here. There's no inflection to the downside yet. Nothing. I think this flashes before this histogram inflects before the signal line. I think you can double check, nothing on the default. That would be a little bit slower, and there's no inflection here at all yet. Nothing, no inflections there. So it's still coming high. Obviously this has not crossed back down. Have a look at Bitcoin. Crossed down. Has it moved up a little bit? Yeah, it has moved a little tiny bit since we started talking. You can see that it was down there a few seconds ago or something. Yeah, so you can see before that actually crossed down how much of, you know, that was at 64, 65, right? That, like, this candle here, it actually started at, not started, but it went up to 59.6. So that's a lot of room to the downside. That's like 10 plus, that was at like 14. Like 17. Yeah, even 18, right? That's a lot of momentum to the downside. And we've come below the EMA2, so you might get a little bit of a touchback there, but maybe not. So we'll have to see. We haven't looked at, we didn't have time to go over the 4 hours, so I'll try to do another video this week because we're starting to run out of time. It's almost half an hour already. So same thing, we haven't had any inflections here, so we'll have to go to the weekly. So we did have an inflection here. Gave me a vertical line. There's your inflection. There's your red candle. I'll just move it away. No inflection on the default till here. High above the EMAs. Came high on the channels. A divergence. Oh yeah, I guess there's divergence forming here now. Did we say there was last time? I can't remember. But no, yeah, you can see it. Is that a little bit of a... I call this like wick divergence, so... This wick went up. Let me remove the lines just to make it clear. It's kind of like a little bit advanced divergence, but it's like this green candle to this top of that red wick. Price moved up. And signal line moved down. RSI moved down. You can look for those. It can be tricky, but you just have to look, I guess, at certain points. Just take one point to one point. If you see anything, see if you see a match. Here, pretty much the same. Is there anything here? Nothing, because the price went up, right? Nothing here. Nothing. Is there something here? Nothing here. This is like the exact point. I guess if you probably can find one on Bitcoin too. Nothing here. 1 day. It's pretty much, yeah, same story, right? Came up high, high, cross down, right? Same thing. Pretty much just more divergence here. I'm just curious to see if there was a point like that on here. Probably was. Yeah, so this point, well, nothing as far as candle to candle. I don't think there's anything. I mean, maybe this one right here. I think this one right here. Price moved up. Price moved up, nothing here at that point, nothing here, and right there. Nothing here, nothing there. At that exact point, it's like, that was like the exact inflection. That's crazy. That is crazy. But they are weekly candles too. So there's a little bit of room in there. Right? I guess once you would have seen it at the exact moment. I don't really have time to watch that like closely because I'm coding. Like I just do my homework, like I just code and stuff. So this, I think there was a decrease in slope here. Where's that peak? Right there. Let me just draw a line. Vertical line right there. Yeah, so there's a decrease in slope to negative infinity right there, and you probably find it on the yeah, you'll see it on that 0 line and on this. So it's all there. It's almost like it's all there. So even on the default, it's there. Decrease in volume. It's pretty much all there. Other than that, you just kind of gotta put everything together and just like decide. I guess we'll just quickly talk about Dogecoin. We'll do a 5-minute longer video. So Dogecoin, it's running high now. It's like starting to run high. It's starting to run. It seems like it's nearing the end of its run. It wants to follow Bitcoin and Ethereum. There's a lot of room to the 50% retracement. But before, I don't think we had all this data, did we? We might have. But if we did, basically, yeah, I guess we did have that retracement from the last high from like 15. It went back down. I'm talking about this retracement for a while. And also it was at 8 cents and it came back down to 4 cents. I thought it came a little bit lower than that. Anyways, we went from like 8 cents to 80, not 80, like 73 area. So again, we're coming up high on the weekly. EMA 9's down there. 50% retracement's down there. That's like that average line, the yellow line. But the thing is now we're starting to get out of overbought. We're starting to inflect to the downside. Yeah, so here we were above overbought almost the whole time. And again, we do have the no, we don't have any point divergence there yet. But again here, this is really, really high, right? That's what we're talking about. This is extremely high. So there's a lot of room for that to come down by the time that averages out. You can see the previous video. And again, these are very, very high. Very high. We haven't even had a red bar close. We haven't had a red bar close. The last time we had a red bar close was September 2020, and the last time we actually had a below 0 line red close was March of 2020. So again, I feel it's running high. There, this could maybe cross down. What do you think? Do you think maybe this could possibly inflect lower? I don't know. It's pretty high. Maybe not, right? Who knows? Same thing here. I wonder if this can close lower. I wonder. But anyways, that's all for today, so I'll see you guys next time. Take care.